This is my 2021 Ram Tradesman 2500. I wanted to give you a list of top 10 things you might hate about this truck. If you're thinking about buying it, it probably doesn't get any worse than this. These are things that I would say I don't like, but overall, obviously, I do love the truck. That's why I bought it. But these are some things I probably wish it didn't have, and I'm dealing with it. You might completely hate it. It might be a deal breaker for you. So let's check them out. First of all, let's talk about this chrome. Whew, not good. It's difficult to find one without this chrome package. Unless you're ordering it yourself, you're probably going to end up getting a chrome package. This is like one of the first things the dealers do is put this chrome package on the order. It's about $1,000 depending on the area you're in. It could be like 900, it could be 1100. And it's the chrome bumper. It's these chrome moldings. There's 3 on top, 1, 2 on the other side, 3, and then here 1, 2, 3 on the other side. 6 pieces. It's also this 1, 2, right? 4 pieces. It's the ram. It's these 2. These are easily replaceable. You can get these online. These 2 outside pieces are like $50, and then the ram is like $50. Then there's the rear bumper. Here's one of the problems. The main problem is that it's ugly, right? As far as I'm concerned, it's ugly. The second problem is you can't get rid of it. I don't think anybody's out there is taking the black and looking online for the chrome. I don't think it's a big deal for that person. That person bought a base model and the work truck, and they're not looking to upgrade to the chrome. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it for them. I mean, what are they're gonna give you, $600-700 for some chrome and then have to replace everything, replace the bumper, replace the bumper. It's a lot of work to go with chrome. It's not going to happen. So you got to find somebody that smacked up their bumper to get rid of the bumper. But that doesn't mean you're going to get rid of the rear bumper or these moldings. You got to hope somebody crashed into a bear or a deer or something. That's the only way you're going to get rid of these. So I bought new steel bumpers, steel bumper front and back. I'm going to buy these pieces in black, and then I'm going to have to get these from the dealer. Now here's the catch. Let's say you're going to do that. Let's say that's your plan. You cannot call up the dealer and say, hey, order me the six-piece molding kit that goes around the grill. Because the first thing they're going to do is, okay, give me your VIN number. And you're going to be like, what in the world do you need them a VIN number for? You give them the VIN number. It's like, oh, this came with chrome. It's like, yeah. So, well, we need a VIN number that came with black. They can't look it up. It's not like they can just type it in, 6-piece molding kit, a grill molding kit. It doesn't work like that. It's ridiculous. I called a dealer that was close to me. I bought this about 2 hours away from me. I called a local dealer. It's about a half an hour away. I said, can I order this black molding? They said, not without a VIN number that had the black molding on it. So you need to find a truck that had black molding on it from the factory, have that VIN number to order it. Now, I bet you if you go back to the dealer that you bought the truck from and ask them to do you a favor, maybe they can track down a VIN number for you. Hopefully they have one in the lot. But yeah, you can't just go and just order this. It's not like an off-the-shelf thing. And if you try and look it up online, you can't. It's because it's not gettable. It's not gettable without a VIN number. It's pretty ridiculous for a 6-piece molding. I mean, it's ridiculous. And since no one is going from black to chrome, you can't find the black like aftermarket. And this truck is obviously very new, and the front end is new. So 2019, you're not going to find a lot of smacked up ones. If you find one with front end damage, this stuff's going to be garbage. You need to find somebody with rear end or side damage, meaning like a totaled out truck. It's pretty tough to total out a truck like this. A 2500 that costs this much money, they don't get totaled out very often. And a lot of people, hit these with sandpaper and then paint them. Yeah, the paint really doesn't stick to chrome that well. So what was good for me is that I wanted this color, this silver color, right? And that actually, the chrome doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. If you really hate chrome, I wouldn't be thinking about, unless you want to get rid of it. I mean, a black car with chrome, that's rough. That's rough. So be careful on the color. If you really don't like chrome, you're trying to order this thing sight unseen or something like that, remember, or not ordering it sight unseen, but buying it sight unseen. This was an in-transit truck. I didn't order this truck. It was in transit, meaning it was from the factory. It was in transit to the dealer. So it had 0 miles on it. It wasn't on the lot. And I put money down on it. I had the ability to look at about 8 dealers that were around me, 2 to 3 hours, right? And I found the one that I really liked, with the most features that I wanted. This happened to be a feature that I didn't want, but you just can't find them without it. That's number 1. Chrome package, not good. We're starting out with the 2 really bad ones, right? The chrome. Now number 2 is these mirrors. They're horrible. These are the tow mirrors. Now they go like this. This is even worse. This position is undrivable. You can't drive with it like this. It's impossible. You always see people with them pushed up like this. This mirror right here is zoomed in so close that if a car is 20 feet off your rear end, right, 20 feet back behind your rear end, you could see the person's face in this thing. It'll look like the car's right here. And what makes it even worse is that the rearview mirror on the windshield is not zoomed in at all, obviously, right? Because you can't do that, because you need a wide view. You'll look at that, and the car will be way back there, and you'll be like, "This is great." And you're going to make your turn. Let's say you're going to be switching to right-hand lane. Right before you're going to switch into the right-hand lane, you're going to look at this rearview mirror, and what's going to happen? That car's going to look like it's right up your ass, and you will slam on the brake and you'll swerve back, and you'll be like, "What the hell? This happened to me." This happened to me when I picked up the truck. It actually happened to me on the ride back. It was like a 2-hour ride back, and I got scared. I was like, "Whoa!" And I thought the car sped up, and then I looked back there, and I was like, "Look at that! The car's still back there. What the hell's going on?" This thing is zoomed in so far to get, if you're pulling like a 35-foot trailer, so you could see the back corner of the trailer when you're going around a turn or you're backing up. For towing purposes, these tow mirrors are probably great. I haven't towed a 35-foot trailer with this. I've towed a boat that's 20 feet, but still didn't like it. I think you need a really, really big trailer for these things to be worth it, I would assume. This piece down here, this is the piece you got to look at. Now, when these are like this piece is not very big. Since it's vertical, you're only getting this small little amount. So when it's like this, it becomes wide and it's usable. And that's why you really see people with these things up. It's really got to be vertical, which makes it difficult, to maneuver the car into things. Parking spaces, it's going to be a problem for you to have these mirrors out like this. This is why they fold. It's not power folding though. It's manual fold. So now I'm very fortunate. The garage behind me, it was for like massive trucks. It's like a work garage, and this truck with the mirrors like this fit in the garage no problem. And the height obviously is, the door is, I don't even know, 4 feet higher than the top of this truck. So I'm very lucky. But if you got a normal single car garage, you're not going to be able to, you might not even be able to get it in with these things like this. The truck's wide. It's just about 80 inches. It's like 79 and change. Usually they don't make trucks over 80 inches because it requires some different, like cab lights. It's required to have cab lights on anything over 80 inches. There's some exceptions, like for instance, a Ford Raptor is bigger than 80 inches. But with these mirrors, it is a lot bigger than 80 inches. You're talking about probably 1.5 feet on either side. So you're talking about 3 extra feet total. They're dangerous, these mirrors, and I'm going to figure out a way to solve this. You cannot get a mirror. You can't get a Ram mirror that's not zoomed in like this, tow mirrors, for the 2500. I'm going to solve it. I'm going to figure it out. One thing I'm thinking about is this mirror right here looks like a standard size. It's not some weird, crazy shape. So I might be able to figure it out. Tow mirrors, they're dangerous. If you're not towing every single day, if you're towing, a couple times a month, these things are bad news. I'm going to figure it out. I'll do another video on it. Let's get to number 3. We're going to be in the interior a bunch here. Overall, the interior is amazing, but there are some things that I don't like. Now, there's two things here that I don't like. The first thing is this electronic shift on the fly. I didn't want the electronic shift on the fly. I wanted the shifter on the floor. But this one had the electronic shift on the fly, and it's not a deal breaker for me. I just didn't want it. Why? And this is why you might not want it, is that the reliability factor. Where I am, four-wheel drive is really, really, really important. With the stuff that I do, I'm in the woods a lot, and the snow, the mud. We get a lot of rain and we get a lot of snow, and I gotta have four-wheel drive. And in the past, I've had two vehicles that have had a problem with electronic shifting, the transfer case shift. I really wanted the floor shifter, but it wasn't a deal breaker for me. This truck had a lot of things I did want as far as options are concerned, so I got it. That's something you should think about. And you might be saying to yourself, well, it's shift on the fly. I really want that. So, I think I want the electronic shift on the fly. Well, it's not non-shift on the fly when it's on the floor. It's manual shift on the fly. So you still get the shift on the fly. What is shift on the fly? It means you go in 35, 40 miles an hour, you can just throw it in four-wheel drive. So electronic shift on the fly and manual are the same thing. The only thing is that the computer does it. You don't have to pull the handle, right? You get this space down here too if you want to put a storage box there. Okay, it's you don't have that shifter in the way. As far as I'm concerned, I like the reliability of the manual one. Number four is this dial right here. Now, I don't have a problem with the dial per se. In fact, if you think about it, it's kind of cool. It removes some clutter from the interior. The problem is that I'm so used to that column shifter that's always right here, and I'm so used to keys that it's like you hit that column shifter into park and then you turn the key off, or you turn the key off and you shift the column into park, and it doesn't matter what you do. With this case, it's like I hit the button and there's no column here to remind me to put it back into park, and I keep forgetting to put it back into park. And here's the next problem is that if you hit the button, the power button, I'm in the tech industry, the power button. if you hit the stop engine button, right? You stop it without putting this into park. I'm gonna show you what happens. Let's start this thing up. It's in park right now. Clearly, it's loud. Let me close the door. If you turn the car off, if you put it off, let's say it's in drive, and you don't put it into park first, and you hit this button, you hit the power button, that's cool, right? It just saved your ass, right? That's really cool. The problem is that you can't leave the car. See that? I just took my foot off the brake and it says ignition or accessory on. You can see it right there. What you gotta do is, you gotta go back, you gotta hit it. Now I got my foot off the brake, and then you gotta turn it off. So they were like almost right here. They almost got it, and I actually think this is a little bit dangerous. Now I haven't tested this where I leave it for 10 minutes, but it sure seems like to me that if you leave the car, it's gonna be accessory on, and it's not going to turn off, which means you could kill your battery. They were so close on this. That's the thing I really don't like, is that if you're going to save me by putting it into park, which is awesome, don't make me think it's really in park and the truck is off. So it's difficult to get used to. Remember to putting it in park. So that's something that you should think about. And also, this thing is going to save you by putting it into park, but it's not going to turn the car off, which means you could have a battery drain issue. It's possible. I need to research that further. So that's 1 through 4, and those are like the big things. The next issue, steering wheel. Steering wheel, obviously, I think looks great. The problem is no volume buttons on the back. No volume buttons on the back. Doesn't make much sense to me. And also, usually, it's also like volume up and down on one side and track skip and back on the other side. Or in the case of, say, like podcasts or something, it usually is a 30-second skip or a 30-second back. Not on here. And I have to say, that for a truck that's meant for towing a lot of weight, those buttons should be on there. You shouldn't have to take your eyes off the road to put the volume up. It really is, doesn't make much sense to me. With all the, there's a lot of, this dial is an upgraded electronic feature. The start button. There's so many other things that are, I would say, electronically an upgrade. Power, sliding back window. Not having these volume buttons, or track skip or 30-second skip, it doesn't make much sense. The next thing is this armrest. The storage is very minimal, very minimal. This is only maybe 4 inches deep. You lift it up, this becomes the bench seat, which no one's ever going to use. And in my 2018 Silverado, which you're going to hear me talk a lot about, this seat was storage. It would just flip up and there would be a huge amount of storage in here. They give you this little tray, which I'll show you a close-up of, which is nice. It's really nice. I would say that, this is really cool. Also, I have to say, in that 2018 Silverado, this storage underneath the middle seat, lockable. You could put a firearm in there, and it locked with the key that you use to turn on the car. Now, in this case, obviously, there is no key. That might have played into their thinking. I'm not sure. But in the Silverado, lockable seat. And it was kind of hidden. You didn't know it was there. So it's almost like a hidden spot, which is another great reason to put a firearm in there. The next problem, this seat. While the quality is great, you have something on top of it that's heavy, or in my case, a baby seat that you're never taking out. The underseat storage is useless. It should be, in my eyes, it should be a 60-40 or a 70-30, whatever you want to say. In my 2018 Silverado, it was split, where you could lift one side and keep one side down. I wish I had that, because the underseat storage is useless now for me. It's very unfortunate. I think they should have put the extra money in, made these seats separate, and put a couple extra brackets in. And honestly, right now they have brackets in here. They have brackets that span the, bracket here and bracket over there. Well, if they broke it up, maybe they didn't have to make them as strong, right? Because the span is less. Maybe the bracket that's over here supporting this small seat, or that side, that small seat, maybe it wasn't that tough, right? Because it doesn't have to go that far. They didn't do that. I wish they would have. Next issue. Now, this is really an issue for you, especially if you're considering a Ford. A Ford 150, I know for sure, has a flat part here. There's no hump. 250, I'm not sure about. If you're thinking about a 150 versus a 1500, this hump I don't think is there on an F-150. It's here, and on the 2500. Do I wish it wasn't? Yeah. It would be nice if that hump wasn't there. You could put something long in here and you don't have to worry about it tilting. What I'm thinking is dog boxes. If this could lift up, right? If this could lift up and that was flat, I could put two dog boxes here on the floor, just in case it was super cold out or super hot and I didn't want to put them on the bed. So the hump is a little annoying. You could build something up on either side, and I think Goose Gear sells a platform that flattens this whole thing out. You take the seats out and flattens it out. Unfortunately, I can't do that because I got the baby seat. I wish that if this was 60-40 or 70-30, I could take out the big side, get something like a Goose Gear, flatten this whole thing out, and still have the seat. So I'd have a ton of storage, and I'd still have the baby seat. Can't do that. All right, let's move on to the next one. The tailgate. This is a button. It's not a latch. Now, much like the transfer case, electronic transfer case motor, instead of the manual, I'm a little bit concerned about the button. Not 50, 60, 70,000 miles. I'm thinking about 100,000 miles. If something goes wrong with it, it's a problem that needs to be diagnosed. And with a regular latch, if something goes wrong, the diagnosing is minimal. You open it up, it's probably the cable that snapped or something like that, and you can fix it. And you can even fix it on the fly. If you're trying to get something done and you can't get to a dealer to get it fixed, you could probably rig something up so that it works temporarily. With the button one, no, you can't do that. You're going to have to do something like, bungee cord it or something like that, if you can even get it open, right? Maybe you can't get it closed and you can bungee cord it, but if you can't get it open, I don't know what you do. There might be a way to open it up and manually click it so that it opens. I'm not sure, but I would rather a latch. Now, that's a very small complaint. But here's where I think it gets a little confusing to me personally. You got the button, but you don't have a soft open. Now, that makes absolutely no sense. Why would you put the money into a button, a push button with an actuator to unlock it, but not make it soft open? In me personally, give me the manual latch, squeeze latch, and give me a soft open. I mean, I don't really get it. I mean, why do they think that squeezing a latch is more harmful or tougher than hitting the button, yet holding this, I don't even know, 50-pound tailgate from slamming down is, right? Why is holding the 50-pound tailgate from slamming down less work than squeezing the latch? Give me the soft open. Give me the soft open. My 2018 Silverado had a soft open. Now, there was problems with that soft open because what they did was, it was something in these little hinges. It was like a little plastic piece, and it ended up breaking a lot. If you look it up online, you can see people had to replace those things all the time. It was a little plastic piece, and it was easy to replace. So as far as I'm concerned, give me the little plastic piece that breaks all the time, and you got to replace it to keep it soft opening. It doesn't stop it from opening, it just makes it so that it doesn't soft open. I don't know, $10, and maybe you got to replace it every 30,000 miles or something like that. That sounds good to me. So that's my change. Soft open over this push button. Probably costs less too. While we're here, let's talk about this step. Now, I think I'm over 10 already, but since I'm here, I'm going to talk about it. This step right here that comes out, comes with the bed utility group. This thing's real dangerous. I'm going to show you how to open it right now, but I got to stand up. You got to do it with your foot. You got to do it right behind here. I'll give you a close-up of this. You have to push directly on this. And if you push on it with your hand, it almost looks like it's going to give, but you really need to do it with your foot. It's the first time I ever used this. I went to a dealership to take a look at the truck, and I remember I was looking at the sticker, and it said, "Oh, bed utility package." And I said, "Let me go look at that." It reminded me that this step was here, and I wanted to see how it worked. I eventually figured out how to get it open, but I couldn't figure out how to get it closed. And if you look at this thing is meant to never close up while you're trying to use it. There's only one way to push this thing to get it to close. And that is, you put your foot right here like this and you push in very hard. Problem is, I didn't know that. And I was kicking it, I was pushing it, I was doing all kinds of things, and I got down here and I'm looking at it, and I happened to, with my hands, push it right at the right spot. And this is spring loaded, this thing. Spring. It's not a soft close. So when I closed it, my thumb happened to be right here. And I closed my thumb up on it, and it split my thumb open. It was swollen for a week. It was bleeding all over the place. I should own the truck for free. I should own the truck for free. It was horrible. And I was like, man, I am never going near that thing with my hand. Now that I understand how it works, I'm okay with sitting right here and touching it. But the next time, this was about a month later, I was trying to do it with my foot, still trying to figure out how to close it. And I end up closing this on my foot. Fortunately, I was wearing sneakers, not like flip-flops like I got right now. And it didn't hurt, there was no problem. But after that, I was like, what in the world is going on here? And then that's when I figured out afterwards, after I closed it up on my foot, that you have to push it right from here. If you watch, just right here, and it goes in. Now you see how fast that thing went in. You can open it up with your hand, but don't go anywhere near this spot. Don't try and push this thing in with your hand. That is serious. You see it bounce? That's how, the tension on that spring, it just needs to go past a certain point and then bam, it slams. There should be a soft close on this. There should be a soft close. I don't know why there isn't. All right, that wraps up the top 10, maybe even 11 things that you might hate about the Ram 2500, 2019 to 2020, 21. This is the 2021. This is the Tradesman too. This is important. This is that, you know, if you're looking at a Laramie, a lot of these problems, like the steering wheel buttons, are not going to exist. The storage under that middle bench seat, you're not going to have a bench seat probably. You can have a console. You can have bucket seats in the front, which I wish I had. That's probably the only thing that I wish I had. So if you're looking at the Tradesman, those are the problems you got to think about. Overall, though, I love this truck. It's obviously the most capable truck. All I had was 1500s before this. This is easily the most capable truck, but it also is the nicest. I mean, I feel like I've only had a few cars that I've driven for 100,000 plus miles, and this is going to be the next one, unless something catastrophic happens. But as far as the loving it, the looks of it, it's an incredible truck. It really took a lot of work to find some things to nitpick about. So that's it. Let's get on with the stuff that I love. We'll do that in the next video. All right, see ya.